everybody, I'm back and I'm so excited to be here sewing with you today. We've got a fun project. I'm going to show you how to turn a large men's t-shirt into a super cute tank top. So it's going to be really fun and a great project, and I hope you will join me. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I need to here to get things going, and then we'll get started. So I know I've been off for 3 weeks, so you may be a little bit out of joining me on Wednesday afternoons, but hopefully we can get back at it here. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple of shares, and then we are going to sew. So like I said, I'm going to be sewing my women's gathered back tank, which was new this summer. So a fun sewing pattern, a free one, that if you haven't tried it, you should. There's some great examples that have been sewn up in our group, and if you're not part of that, you can just search Life So Savory Pattern Group and find it. Thank you for joining me. I'm so glad you guys are here. We're just going to do a couple things, and then we are going to get started sewing. Did anyone else notice that Facebook looks different today? This is the first time it's been different for me. Some of you may have seen it earlier, but I'm not sure what I think about it. It is a little bit weird. Definitely different. Not sure if I like it. Okay, so we're gonna save this. All right, so I am going to walk with you today through sewing the women's gathered back tank, which I'm just realizing now might be difficult for me to model because I'm wearing a dress. So usually I just step to the side and like take off the shirt I'm wearing and then put the tank top on, but we'll have to see. I am wearing some legging shorts underneath, but maybe we'll just be able to do a waist up modeling in the end, but we'll see. So this is the women's gathered back tank. The link to this free pattern is included in this video, either usually below or above me, depending on where you're watching it. And it just has 3 simple pieces. And today I'm going to show you how to upcycle, recycle a thrift store shirt. So I got this at the thrift store. It's a Gap extra large men's shirt. So I like to go to the men's section because there's a lot more fabric in men's clothing if I'm going to be using it for clothing. And it was $3.99, but it was 50% off. So I got all this fabric for about $2. And I love the feel of store-bought t-shirts like Old Navy or Gap shirts. They're just that really thin, they're just really thin fabric, and they usually are mostly 2-way stretch, which means they stretch side to side, not so much up and down. This one just has a slight up and down, but mostly 2-way. And so for this tank, that's a great fabric to use because when I did use 4-way stretch with this tank, it was super saggy. We're going to turn this shirt into a tank top. All right. So while I'm doing that, while I'm cutting this apart, we can talk about some other things. So I'm going to cut up the side seams just to make it easier to cut out my front and back. So I'm cutting apart this shirt that I bought just for the fabric. And depending on what size tank you're making, you know, you need to buy a larger or a smaller shirt, but we should be just fine. So I'm gonna sew the size small of the tank top, and this is an extra large, and you will see, I figured I'll have plenty of fabric. The only thing I might have to fudge slightly is the bindings, just because I might not have a piece long enough. So I might have to piece some together, but we will see. So this dress is actually, I don't know if you guys get these, but when I'm on Facebook, sometimes I get these really cheap clothing ads, and they're almost always like companies in China, and I've ordered from before and it did not turn out good. I've gotten some really terrible stuff. Well, this was one of those ads I saw on Facebook, and I thought this dress is too cute to pass up, and it has pockets. So I bought the dress. I didn't make it. I would consider making it because it's so cute and comfy. It's like a stretch woven. I bought it in 2 colors, you guys. So I don't always sew for myself. Sometimes I buy things off cheap Facebook ads and get suckered into other things. Okay, so let me move this so we can see my cutting table. Okay, so I'm going to, here's the pattern pieces. We have the back yoke, we have a back, and we have a front. And then this little chart is my band cutting guide. Okay, so that's what, this would look cute with a printed binding. I wonder, I just don't really think I have anything great. Let me take a really quick look. This is too big of a print. Isn't that cute, but too big? What about this? The teals match. Is that too busy to make bindings out of? I'll cut the front. You guys weigh in. I just don't have anything great that coordinates with this fabric. This does match, but I'm not sure if it's too busy. Okay, so from the front of this shirt, we're going to cut the front of the tank. Another reason I like reusing t-shirts is because I can keep the original hem. Okay, so I'm going to lower the shirt by about 3/4 of an inch on, I'll overlap it, and then that will be, I'll just keep the hem. All right, I've got Patty votes yes for the binding. Should we bind it in the polka dot? It might add a little fun to this. I just noticed I'm gonna have to cut with the scissors because I've got this off my mat. Okay, so we're gonna cut the front, and then we'll use this to cut the back, and I think I'm gonna use the sleeves to cut the yoke. But I didn't do a very good job aligning this on my mat, so I've got to use my scissors up here because I went off. The other thing is, I really need a new rotary cutter. This one is leaving tons of gaps. That actually did pretty good. I was cutting out something yesterday, and every time I had to go back and like recut a section because it wasn't working. Fun and girly. All right, you guys have convinced me. We'll try it. It's just going to be a summer tank anyway. A fun summer tank, right? Okay, so now we can do the back. And if you're keeping the original hem, like I am attempting to do, you have to make sure when you fold it in half that you line up that hem so that your new hem is also even. So just be aware of that. Now the one thing I am thinking is I'm not going to be able to make this quite as wide, just due to the constraints of this shirt. So I will make it as wide as it can be, and the back is gathered and so is a little bit full, but I'm not going to be able to make it quite as full. Okay? Akai rotary scissors. Okay, I will check those out. I need something new for sure. Okay, so sometimes when you're doing this, you may encounter, like here, I'm going to run out of a little bit of fabric underneath. This is the underarm. Okay, so I've made this before, and I know my underarms were plenty big. In fact, I took in one of the shirts anyway, so I'm just going to slightly adapt that line because then I can keep the full gather up here. The other alternative would be to slide it over and make this part of the gathered yoke less gathered, okay? So, you know, there's various ways that you can adapt things. And especially if you've made the pattern before, you can know a little bit like, okay, this part was big on me anyway, and so I can get away with, you know, taking it in. And again, if I could find an XXL shirt, then we wouldn't have this issue. So it really does depend on like what fabric you're using, what shirts you find. I'm just evening up these sides. But this will be a pretty good back. I just love this color, and I felt like I didn't have my pattern with me, so of course I didn't know if it was going to be exactly big enough, but I figured it would be. Okay, so now you could cut some strips for the binding out of the top of this shirt, but we're going to try the polka dot, go for a fun look there, and I'm going to use the sleeve here. I think I can fit this. I want to do it on top of the hem because I don't want to have the hem in where I'm sewing the yoke, but we should be able to get away with having just enough here from the sleeve. I could also use the back of that shirt. Another thing, you know, if you think, oh, I wear a size extra large, I'd never be able to get it out of a men's shirt, you can get 2 or 3 men's shirts and do fun color blocking, which is another great way, you know, to reuse fabric and make other things. So there's our back yoke. So now let's cut some strips of fabric for the bands. And this is double brush poly, so it's super stretchy. So I don't really have to worry too much about the direction of stretch, simply because any which way would be stretchy enough. And this handy little chart here will tell you exactly how wide and how long to make your bands. So you can use that in cutting. I usually end up just cutting longer strips than I need and then adjusting them down. Ooh, polka dots on the yoke. Oh, Jane, that's a great idea. Okay, I'm going to, should I recut the, I'm going to recut the yoke. This, making the whole tank out of this would not work. This is double brush poly. It's double stretch. It will be too saggy. I tried that. If you click through to the post about this pattern that I did, you will see a very saggy tank top that I made out of a 4-way stretch, and it was just too saggy. But I think for the yoke, because it's so small, we can make it work. Okay, so we'll try that. All right, so we have fabric to cut another yoke. So I need 1.75 inches wide on my bands. I'm going to cut 2 long strips, and I think I can get the 3 I need out of 2 strips. Again, if you are confident with stretching and kind of sewing as you go, you don't always need to follow my band cutting guides, and sometimes I don't even include it, but this one I did. But you know me, sometimes I just like to stretch and sew as I go. But there's not going to be enough with only 2. Okay, we got to cut 1 more. All right, so we'll cut 1 more band, and then we'll cut the yoke. I can't cut with that much stuff. I know, I'm working in a pretty limited space here. So my office is kind of tucked into the corner of our main living area, and I like being in the middle of the action, but it does require me to work around some things. I'm just cutting off this part of it. Okay, so now I have 3 band pieces, and let's see if there's a scrap over here that we can use to cut a yoke. Ooh, what a good idea. That will tie it all together, I think. All right, so now we have our pieces, and we can sew. All right, so let me swivel you around here. Let's see what we got going. All right, so we are going to put this together. And we're going to begin by gathering the back of the tank top to match the yoke. Okay, so let's find the tank back, which, oh, here it is. Okay, and we're not going to have to hem today because we have our hems on there. And we need to gather the top edge of the back to match the top edge of this tiny, it looks tiny, but when we put the bands and stuff on it, it works great. The top of this yoke. So you can definitely see there's a discrepancy in the size, and that's because we're going to gather it. So I'm going to run 1 gathering stitch along the top of this. So I've set my stitch length to 5, and I'm just going to sew right across the top of this. When I'm gathering, I like to pull it out rather than use the automatic thread cutter, because if you use the automatic thread cutter, you end up with these teeny little threads. And Deborah, you saw this dress on Facebook. It's crazy. I think I could copy it. I kind of like this side panel down here. I'm not sure I've seen this. It's like a stretch woven, and it's super thin. So I'm not sure if it would work in a heavier fabric. That's kind of what I've been thinking about with it, is that the fabric really makes the dress, and the fit makes it so flowy. And if I didn't have that, how would it work? Okay, so we are gathering this to match. Tie off one end here. So I don't slide my gathers from one side to another. And then tie off the other end, and then I can even out my gathers. Okay, so just kind of spread them evenly. And then with right sides together, we're going to place the yoke on top of the gathers. And so, all right, so I'm going to use the serger. I have black on here because I was making something fun that you're going to see tomorrow on my website with darker color fabrics. But I think with this dark teal, black will work, hopefully with the polka dots. We might have to change the cover stitch for the top stitching of the bands. We'll see. Okay, so here is the gathered yoke. There's a little pucker there. I'll have to look at that later. Okay. That is going to look so cute. I love it with the bands. Okay, I don't remember who made that suggestion, but so great. So the next thing we do, easy. Now we're just assembling this tank top and we're putting the front and the back together at the straps with the right sides together. I know what I'm going to be wearing tomorrow. My new awesome tank top. So the t-shirt is thrift store since they've reopened, but it's originally a men's Gap shirt, and at least that's what the tag says. And then the polka dots are from Raspberry Creek's summer collection of fabric. So cute. Okay, so now we have the, you guys know what I just did that I don't like to do? I sewed the shoulder shut, and you know me, I want to put the band on first. So we're going to pick this back out. Good thing it's only an inch of sewing. Not too hard to rip. And I'm going to sew the neck band on while it is open, because that just is life-changing for me, being able to do that. So I'm going to take one of these bands and fold it wrong sides together and start on the shoulder, and I'm going to serge it on and around, pulling stretching as I go. You want to stretch about 10% of the fabric. So that you end up with a nice neckband that lays flat. If you stretch it too much, you'll have puckers. If you stretch it not enough, it will stand up weirdly, which no one wants a neckband that stands up like a collar. My mom, in fact, when she sews the kids' pajamas, she likes to put on wider neckbands, because then it kind of stands up like a mock turtleneck, and she likes that look. So personal preference on how wide you want your neckband to be. There's lots of options. Remember, the pattern does give you an actual length to cut this, so if my stretching as I'm sewing makes you nervous and you think, I could never do that, I did give you an actual measurement on the pattern so you can stretch it and make it the correct length. And then I like to just do one check along to make sure I didn't leave any gaps or holes. And then we can sew the other shoulder shut. Shoulder shut. Okay. So now we'll sew this again. And then, what is going on? Computer's dinging over there. On this side, which is the neckband, right, this is a finished edge, so I need to make sure I finish my serger seam. If you're just using your sewing machine for this step, then you can go ahead and just back stitch, but you can't really back stitch on a serger, so I need to make sure it's that I finish that. Okay, so there we go. We've got a cute start to our tank, and there's the back. And then let's, do the arm bindings. So I'm going to sew these before I sew the side seams so that I can sew them open just like I did the neck. If you like to sew things in the round after you've, you know, completed the circle, then you can go ahead and do that. It's totally up to you. The dimensions and the measurements would all work the same. I just prefer to definitely do it while I can sew it in sort of a long open stitch like this. So now I'm stitching across that back yoke, and then we'll go back on to the blue or the teal to finish the armhole. What is sliding around? So the clip. Okay, and I'm just trimming that. You need to make some clothes, and this is a free pattern. Look at how cute the back of that tank is shaping up. I might have to pick out, I don't know what happened there. There's a tiny little pucker. If I can't press it out, I'm gonna have to pick that out, but I'll do that later. Okay, so it's looking awesome. Yes, so Cindy, when I sew swim fabric, I would do the same. Are you talking about elastic on like openings of legs? I actually do sew that in the round because I don't like having the elastic joined together in a side seam, as it's only, I feel like that's not a secure enough elastic, if that's what you're asking. So like on leg openings, I would sew the leg and then I would add the elastic for the swim, because otherwise I'm afraid that, yeah, I like to secure my elastic into a circle so it's nice and tight. So I do this on everything except for, yeah, that. Now if I was doing swim without elastic and doing swim with bindings or bands, then yes, I would do it like this. Or like I made rash guards, which are essentially, you know, a glorified t-shirt, but just out of swim fabric for my kids, and I would have sewed the neckline just like this. So. All right, so now we can do the side seams. But the back is looking so super cute. I'm not even gonna top stitch it. I think it looks awesome just like this. So quick and easy, and the polka dots are really making this a fun top. Super glad I decided to, although that if the front, maybe it'll press down. If it doesn't, I'll have to top stitch it. Okay, so you can always top stitch later. Okay, so now we need to finish this, because we don't have to hem it, by putting the side seams together. Now, here is the one downside to using an existing hem, is that if my side seams here don't match up exactly, then I've already hemmed it, and I can't even it out. So this is a time where I kind of do like to pin or clip in a couple places, so I can see if I really need to ease that side seam together, because I need this hem to match. I don't have any play with where it meets. And it looks like it's going to be pretty good, but I'm just going to put a couple clips along the way so that I can be sure. But this is totally fine. But I have done that before, where I'm going along and, you know, I'm loving that I don't have to hem it, and then I realize, oh, I'm a ½ inch off, or I'm even an inch off, and especially when I just have like moved the pattern off the fabric, and I just kind of estimated my hem. You know, it's easy to get off, even if the pattern were correct to start with. So just a side note about using pre-existing hems, but sometimes I just have to stretch one side just a hair to make it work. And then again, these are finished edges, so we either want to finish those raw serger seams in one way or another. I like to use this darning needle and pull it back through. You can also top stitch on your sewing machine, but both the top and bottom of this side seam have finished edges, so I need to finish it before I'm done. Okay, just wanted to see what you guys are talking about over there. Why won't this come out? Okay, so now we have one side seam. We can do the other, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to model this. Like I said, I'm wearing a dress. I do have like little short leggings on underneath, so I might just move the camera up so you can't really see, but I'm not completely undressed. Okay, let's finish this side seam and then I will show you what it looks like. Well, I might make everything look easy because I have sewed this multiple times. When I'm creating the pattern, I already made like 4 of these in the pattern creation, but I also feel like I have developed a lot of tips or tricks and sort of shortcuts over the years because I just don't always have a lot of time to get things done. So, okay, now, oh, that was my darning needle I just threw away. That's not what I want to do. I want to put it in there. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to model this for you. But before I do, I thought I would show you real quick what tomorrow's post is going to be. If you have any kids or grandkids who like to wear sweatpants, but it's summer, I've created a sweat shorts pattern with pockets. This one's made out of French terry. This pair is made out of sweatshirt fleece. My boys both declared them very comfortable, and tomorrow you'll see this free pattern in sizes 4 to 18, plus photos of my boys wearing it and all the details to make this really cute sweatpants with drawstrings, sweat shorts. Sweatpants shorts? I don't even know how you say it. Okay, let me put this on and see what it looks like, and then I'll come back and see if I can do it. So let's tip it up, and then I can decide how much I'm going to reveal here. Make sure it fits too. Okay. So, I think we're in business. The bindings need to be pressed, of course, and the length is good. I'll pull down my little shorts here. So you can see the length is good. On the back, I really like where it comes, and then the back yoke is super cute, although I'm wearing the wrong bra with this. I should have a racer back on. But anyway, I think it turned out really good, and I will definitely be wearing it tomorrow. You can see the underarm is a good cut, right? Not too tight, not too loose. That's where I like it. I don't have to wear a tank top under it, and it's super comfy. I can't really see the back, but I know what the back of this tank looks like. So I think I like it, and I think it'll work, and I'm so glad you joined me to make it. So grab this pattern. Again, it comes in sizes extra small through extra, extra large. And so, you know, check your bust measurement. The waist is, this is loose, so you have some play in the waist measurement. It just would be fitting up here, but I think you should make one, and make sure you share, if you do make one, make sure you share your pictures in our pattern group, which is Life So Savory Patterns on Facebook, and so we can all ooh and ah over what you made. There's already been some shared this year, and it's been really great to see what people are making. So I hope you will make one, or make one for someone else who would enjoy it. And I don't remember who suggested using the polka dot for the yoke, but I love it. I'm super glad I did. I think it made it tie all together, and it's just perfect. So thank you for joining me. I will see you back here next week for another fun sewing tutorial, and yeah, can't wait to see. I'll be posting that sweatpants, sweat shorts pattern tomorrow for kids, so make sure you check it out then. All right, bye.